students. How are you? I hope and pray that all of you are safe with your family during this pandemic COVID-19. We are all locked down and it's painful to see people struggling or dying around us. And we too are struggling in our own way. But we should move along, consoling ourselves with the words that this too will pass by. As part of our survival, we are getting back to our studies. So I am here today to be with you for some time. And today we will discuss about a topic, froth flotation process from the chapter Metallurgy. What is metallurgy? Metallurgy is the whole process of extraction of metal in its free state from its ore, and that is called metallurgy. And this involves a large number of processes and techniques, and we are going it into stepwise. So the first step is crushing and pulverization of the ore. Crushing means, you know the meaning of crushing. I mean, it is breaking something, crushing. The ore that we get is as large lumps. So these huge lumps are broken into small pieces, and that is known as crushing. And then it is pulverized. Pulverization means it's ground into powdered form. So the first step of metallurgy is crushing and pulverization of the ore. That means the huge lumps of metal ore is broken into small pieces and grounded into a powdered form. Then coming to the second step, that is concentration of the powdered ore. This concentration of the powdered ore having different methods. 4 methods it includes, like according to the nature of the ore or the nature of the gangue. The meaning of gangue is the impurities associated with the powdered ore. So according to the nature of the gangue or according to the nature of the ore that we have to be getting separated, and it involves 4 different methods. One is froth flotation process, and the other one is gravity separation, hydraulic washing, and leaching. So here in this module we are going to discuss about froth flotation process, or we are going to discuss about the froth flotation method. Actually, froth flotation method or froth flotation process is generally used for concentration of sulfide ores. We use froth flotation process for the concentration of sulfide ores. For example of sulfide ores, we can say copper pyrite, CuFeS2, copper pyrites. This is copper pyrites, and or zinc blende, ZnS. This is zinc blende. And so copper pyrite, zinc blende, these are all sulfide ores. These type of sulfide ores are generally concentrated by the method of froth flotation process. And in froth flotation method, it is based on the fact that the surface of the sulfide ores, these sulfide ores, the surface of that particular metal ores is preferentially wetted by oils. That means these sulfide ores will have a preference in wetting it by oils, while that of gangue, what is gangue? What is gangue? Gangue is the impurity associated with that metal ore which we are planning to remove from it. That gangue will be preferentially wetted by the water. So based on this fact, we are bringing this froth flotation method to concentrate the powdered ore. Now the powdered ore is taken in a rectangular tank, and this powdered ore is made in a soluble form, or this is the solution of the powdered ore. This is the solution of powdered ore. So powdered ore is taken as a solution, and this fine powder, we already told the fine powder that we got after the crushing and pulverization of the ore, that finely powdered ore is made as a solution, and a rotating paddle, means a fan like thing, a fan is put into this solution, and the whole solution is agitated. That means that fan is rotated and the whole solution is agitated, and what happens? Froths are formed from the solution, and then this froth will come up. Since this with the froth, the ore particle that is light in weight, that because it is wetted by oil, so it becomes light in weight. So this light in weight ore will come up with the froth, and this froth is skimmed off, taken into another vessel. This powdered ore, this froth that is carrying the powdered ore, that is wetted by the oil, that became light in weight, is skimmed off and taken into another vessel, and that gang which is wetted by the water will become heavier and will be staying back in the solution. These sulfide ores that are preferentially wetted by the oil will become light in weight and will come up, and it will be skimmed off and taken into another vessel, and which will be then dried off. And this whole process will not be taken in that easy sense. That means, see, we use different type of chemicals or reagents for that, which is known as collectors. These collectors increase the non-wettability of ore particles. What is its role? Role of collectors is it increases the non-wettability of ore particles. That means when we add these collectors into this solution what we have made, we will add collectors into this. That is a kind of reagent. What is the use of that collector? It increases the non-wettability of the ore particles. That means it will not be wetted by water anymore, but it will be preferentially wetted by the oil. So these collectors are supposed to be oil. So examples of collectors are pine oil, fatty acids, xanthates, etc. So we use collectors. Examples are pine oil, fatty acids, xanthates, etc., which enhances the non-wettability of ore particles. And also we add one more thing into this particular solution, that is known as froth stabilizer. What is the function of the froth stabilizer? To stabilize the froth. Means what? To stabilize the froth means to increase the lifespan of the froth. That means once the froth is formed here, it should be staying for a bit longer time than expected. While this froth is the ones that are carrying this powdered ore, which is wetted preferentially by the oil and getting light in weight because of it is wetted by the oil. So this lightweight particle, that is the powdered ore, will come up with the froth, and that froth should be staying there for long. That is what is the use of froth stabilizer. It will stabilize the froth. It will enhance the lifespan of the froth till we take this froth along with the concentrated ore from this particular vessel where we have done this froth flotation process. So froth stabilizer will enhance the stability of the froth, and the examples are cresols, aniline, etc. are examples of froth stabilizers. So when we do the froth flotation process, we take the solution of finely powdered ore in a rectangular tank, and some reagents are added. One is collectors and the other one is froth stabilizers. Collectors such as pine oil, fatty acids, xanthates, etc. And its function is to increase the non-wettability of ore particles. And as well as we add froth stabilizer. And the use of the froth stabilizer is to stabilize the froth or to increase the lifespan of the froth, so that the froth can hold this concentrated ore with it for a bit longer time, and during that time we can skim off or we can take away that froth into another vessel and we can dry it off. So we get the concentrated form of the ore. And especially, as we said, this particular method is generally used for the concentration of sulfide ores. Okay, sulfide ores. And then another important concern in this case is use of depressants. That is very important. Depressants. It's a very important concept. Depressants. Depressants. Actually, these depressants are certain reagents. Suppose we have two sulfide ores like zinc blend, ZNS, zinc sulfide plus lead sulfide together in a solution. We need only one sulfide, we need only one metal to be separated. We don't want to separate these two together. So what we have to do is, we have to take out only one ore from the taken solution. But there are two different types of ores, and that two are same sulfide ores. In that case, we use a reagent. And what is the use of this reagent is to separate two sulfide ores by adding certain reagents. That means this will separate two sulfide ores. How can we separate two sulfide ores? It's understandable. That means if we use one depressant, one should favor one of the ores to come up with the froth and the other should be staying back, isn't it? So in this case, for example, in the case of zinc sulfide and lead sulfide solution, lead sulfide ore containing solution, we use NaCN, sodium cyanide, NaCN as the depressant. So it's an important question, which is the depressant used in the separation of zinc sulfide and lead sulfide ores. So the name is sodium cyanide. NaCN is the depressant used for the separation of zinc sulfide and lead sulfide ores. So when NaCN is added, it will show a bit preference to which one. So NaCN is used as a depressant to separate zinc sulfide ore from lead sulfide ore. So NaCN will prevent zinc sulfide. It is against zinc sulfide. Okay, so NaCN will prevent zinc sulfide so that it will not come along with the froth to the upper portion. So NaCN will prevent zinc sulfide from forming froth by forming a complex with it. So NaCN will go and form a complex with zinc sulfide. It form a complex with the zinc sulfide, and will ask zinc sulfide, okay, you stay back. That means it is not helping zinc sulfide to come up. So it prevents zinc sulfide to come along with the froth to the topper portion, and by forming a complex with it. Which one? Sodium cyanide will form a complex with zinc sulfide, and it will prevent the zinc sulfide to come along with the froth to the topper portion. And who will come up then? Zinc sulfide, lead sulfide will come up. So zinc sulfide will be separated from lead sulfide by the crucial role or by the technical involvement of the sodium cyanide. That means sodium cyanide will go and make a friendship with zinc sulfide and form a complex, and will ask zinc sulfide to stay back, and will take lead sulfide, and then by that time what will happen? Lead sulfide will go along, escape along with the froth to the topper portion. So what we will be doing? We will skim off what? Lead sulfide ore. We will separate lead sulfide ore very carefully after concentration.
So this is the role of the depressants. So what is the use of depressants? What is the role of depressants in separating two sulfide ores? Or how can we separate zinc sulfide from lead sulfide? These are all very important questions when we look into the point of view of the exam.